Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
The biggest sale of the year is happening right now during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda. For a limited time, make no payments for 90 days on every new Honda. That's right, you choose and make no payments for 90 days at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello and welcome as we start the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's hoping all is well with you and yours and your slice of South Louisiana heaven. Since the last opportunity that Marty, Dal, and I had to spend some time with you and yours at the end of last week. We start today's show with Louisiana news as we typically do. And a couple of things that really caught my eye over the last couple of days. The City of New Orleans, once again, according to some media outlets, claiming the title of the most dangerous city in America. And of course, not to be outdone, Baton Rouge apparently decides we're not going down without a fight. I saw this story that absolutely sickened me. Just when you start to think, we can't get any lower, along comes this guy, 35-year-old Tyron Jones of Sanama, arrested after being charged with attempted second-degree murder, child endangerment, child desertion, illegal use of weapons, and aggravated criminal damage to property. What he allegedly did was to open fire on a man at his home while holding, wait for it, a child. Holding a baby, pulls out a gun, and opens fire on a guy. Never, apparently, giving any thought to what would happen if the person he was shooting at produced a gun of their own and started shooting back while you're holding a child. Some things are beyond comprehension. Some things send a very clear message to us about the state of our society. Who in their right mind, and I guess that part of the sentence pretty much explains it all. Who in their right mind holds a baby while shooting at someone committing a criminal offense? Just when you thought we couldn't get any lower as a society. In other news, parents, talk to your children. They are at a point we are at a point in our society where they're getting younger and younger and younger. A 12-year-old, 6th grader, middle school, arrested recently after bringing THC-infused gummies. Y'all as Americans call them gummies. I call them goomies because the people that invented them, the Germans, that's what they call them. Of course, you know, I was born in Germany, lived there for a couple of years. So if you hear me say goomies, I'm talking about gummies. That's what Americans call them, just so you know. So when you hear me in the future say that, you won't sit there scratching your head. Goomies? What the hell is he talking about? That's what the people that invented them called them, okay? Your history lesson for today. 12-year-old 6th grader, and yes, I do speak English, shows up at school with THC-infused gummies. According to school officials and law enforcement officials, handed them out to 3 of his fellow students. Now, let me hasten to add, it also says in the news accounts they requested them from the 12-year-old. And of course, a 12-year-old being a 12-year-old, if your friends ask you for some, what are you going to do? No, you're going to give them some. One ends up being transported to the hospital. The 12-year-old subsequently ends up being arrested. Y'all forgive me, but it's human nature. I automatically go back to those of us that had really good parents, that when we did something going along with the crowd, remember what they said to us? If all your friends go and jump off the bridge, are you going to jump too? You remember that? Parents, talk to your kids. They're never too young for you to have that conversation. And the fact of the matter is, with the Biden-Harris administration in charge and the fentanyl crisis that last year killed 108,000 of our fellow Americans, we're extremely fortunate that this was THC and not fentanyl. Recently, we talked about this joker that ran from the police, known drug dealer. After getting a search warrant and searching his home, they found a pound of fentanyl, which was enough to kill more than 1,000 people. Fortunately, in this instance, it was THC, and for those of you that don't know, tetrahydrocannabinol, it is the active ingredient in marijuana. Fortunately, it wasn't fentanyl. Parents, talk to your kids. Talk to them. Because if you don't, there are folks out there that will very willingly expose them to things that could kill them. Lest we forget, the story says the 3 students that took the THC-infused gummies, I'm not going to do it in German for you, they asked the 12-year-old to share it with them. Talk to your kids, parents. The stuff that is out there will kill them lickety-split these days. And the best defense that they have against becoming a victim is you instilling some common sense in them. Sadly, the 6th grader that was hospitalized because of this, you won't have to tell him anymore But the rest of the students, don't be surprised if in the near future someone else shows up with something else and others ask, "Ooh, can I try that?" And those will be the ones, in all likelihood, whose parents did not sit down and have the conversation with them. By the way, tonight, I could tell everybody that walked through the door this morning that is just so excited. Oh, they can't wait for the State of the Union address tonight from Brandon. I'll be honest with y'all. For the last 43 years, with the exception of last year, I have never missed the State of the Union address. Last year, technically, I didn't miss it. I watched as much as I could before I felt the urge to throw up. This year, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't think I can bring myself to do it. I really don't. We're going to talk later in the show. But there is something for those of you that are planning to watch tonight. There will be in attendance a guest of Senator Bill Cassidy. He is an individual that you probably heard the story about not too long ago. East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Deputy. Want to be sure I get the name right. I know it's Deputy Bankston. Let me get Will Bankston. Will be a guest of Senator Bill Cassidy at the State of the Union address for his heroic efforts while off duty, mind you. Saw a very horrific car crash that ended up with the vehicle turned over and the driver trapped underwater. Taking seriously Officer Bankston's pledge to serve and protect, and law enforcement will tell you this readily. When you're a member of law enforcement, you're never off duty. I mean, technically you're off duty, but because of the oath that you swore, there's no such thing as being off duty. He saw what happened, saw what was going on, leapt into action. And hopefully they will acknowledge his efforts tonight. Now, if you are a Louisianian, anything like me, you will probably reach for the remote as soon as that part is over with. Just saying, hey, I love y'all. I'm honest. I just call them like I see them. I tell you all the time. And I wouldn't dare sit here and lie to you and say, oh yeah, I'm going to sit there and watch it from beginning to end. That would be a bold-faced lie. And y'all get enough of that coming out of Washington. You don't need me to add to the problem. First break of today's show. We got some doozies coming back. Second segment, Tuesday edition. Time for another illustrious edition of, now that's just plumb stupid. That's next when we continue the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to Roy Fletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
The season of inspiration is the perfect time to discover the enhanced Mazda CX-5, named a 2022 IIHS Safety Pick Plus Award winner, its highest safety award honor. Choose from over 45 CX-5s available at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi, gang. Clarence Bugs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Bugs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bugs Show. It is, of course, second segment, Tuesday edition, and that means that it's time for another edition of, now that's just stupid. The graphic on the screen shows you. You're probably saying to yourself, if you're new to the show, why did they spell it STOOPID? Well, that's because the level of stupid that we're talking about here defies the traditional spelling of STUPID. We are talking way above and beyond STUPID. Hence, we had to come up with a new spelling. It's pronounced the same, but it lets you know off the bat, this is an entirely different level of stupid. We'll start, surprise, surprise, with a member of the Biden-Harris administration, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. This weekend, speaking with NBC host Chuck Todd, the following question was posed. Why do you think that with all the great things that Joe Biden has done, why do you think it's not penetrated with the American public? His response, and I quote, well, look, these things don't sell themselves. And it's one of the reasons I'm really looking forward to that State of the Union address. I will say that there have been so many accomplishments under this administration, it can be difficult to list them in a distilled way. So in other words, Joe Biden has done so much to help the American people. The problem is, y'all too stupid to understand it. Let me ask you something. What percentage of your fellow Americans, if you walked up today to 100 random fellow Louisianians and were to ask them, Can you tell me two things that Joe Biden has done that has made your life better as a Louisianian? What percentage of your fellow Louisianians do you think could name two strong things that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have done to improve your life? That's rhetorical. We already know the answer. You don't have to answer. We know. But Pete Buttigieg is under the impression that this man has done so many wonderful things that it's hard to distill it down to a form that y'all can understand. Of course, now, I guess I have to understand him saying something like this because, after all, here's a guy with no experience at all in transportation, put in charge of a federal transportation agency. So it only stands to reason, I guess, that politics being politics, that's what they do. Somebody asks you, what kind of job do you think your boss is doing? And in this case, as is the case pretty much with the federal government in general, certainly with this administration, you got to come up with some lie to tell. I mean, ask Karine Jean-Pierre. She gets up and lies to us on a daily basis about her boss. So Pete Buttigieg, you know better than no different than any other liberal in Washington, kind of expect him to do the same thing. Problem is, when you say stuff like this, most of us as Americans who've been halfway paying attention, most of us as Americans who've been going about our business of living our daily lives, we all know that when you say something like that, you're stupid. Pure and simple. Secondly, speaking of stupid and liberals, I saw this one and immediately the old adage, one step forward, two steps backwards, came to mind. This is from what is supposed to be the best and the brightest that we have in this country. The institution of, quote, higher learning in our country has been infiltrated by liberals to the point of it's no longer recognizable. This one, you can't make this stuff up. This one comes from what is arguably one of the best known and most, and I use this term very loosely, respected institutions of higher learning, if not in America, on the planet. Yale University, Ivy League. Recently, the College Council at Yale sent out an email to the students to inform them of how you can be more accommodating to your fellow Yaleys, as they call themselves. Yale, you attend Yale, you're a Yalie. So they sent out an email to the white students at Yale University, informing them of how you can be more accommodating to your fellow black Yaleys. Y'all not going to believe this, but then again, you probably will if you've been paying attention to what's going on in our institutions of higher learning. A couple of things that they pointed out. Number one, when the line is long in the dining hall. Politely, if you're white, step out of the way and let black people pass you. I guess the folks at Yale are of the opinion that the way to make up for making black people sit on the back of the bus is now to make white people get at the back of the line in the cafeteria. Oh, but it gets better. It gets much better. Listen to this crap, if you will. Quote, if there is a puddle on the sidewalk, gently slide your coat off and lay it on the ground so your black friends can walk with ease. Dal is sitting there eating his lunch going, what? You heard me right. If there is a puddle on the sidewalk, gently, not forcefully, gently slide your coat off and lay it on the ground so your black friends can walk with ease. So let me get this straight. I've got to imagine, and I don't have any numbers in front of me, but I've got to imagine tuition at Yale University is probably in the neighborhood of about $50,000 a year. And if you're black and are not independently wealthy, your family doesn't have the money to pay the tuition, 50-some grand a year, you're probably receiving scholarships, Pell Grants, all sorts of financial incentives, but you can't afford an umbrella? Apparently, the folks at Yale are of the opinion black people have never heard of raincoats. Apparently, the people at Yale are of the opinion that black folks either don't know about or cannot afford to buy rain boots. So white people need to take off their coats and put it over the rain puddle so black people can walk with ease. Here's a question. What about Asians? What about Latinos? Is that not discriminating? Just a question. And here's another one. What are you really saying to black people? Now, if you're young and watching this, you probably don't know anything about this. There used to be a thing called chivalry in our country. And this is where they got the idea from, where a man walking with a woman, there's a puddle on the ground, you take your coat off so she wouldn't have to walk through it, put it down and let her walk over it. So apparently, black people now have replaced women, where we need to have, in the interest of social justice, chivalry on our behalf. It might be funny if it weren't so freaking insulting. But that's what you get when you entertain liberals. Stupid. Bottom of the hour break. When we come back, I want to talk about the latest. Because Marty confirmed to me early on. The latest installment of how we have arrived at a point where it's embarrassing to be an American. Thanks, Joe Biden. That's next when we continue the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bugg Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
You could be driving. Now's the time to save on new Accords during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana. Get our lowest prices and biggest savings on our largest selection of Accords this year. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana, I-49 just south of Opelousas.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Caught spiders?
Premier Pest Services.
Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Here's a question. How old were you as a child when you realized, if my parents catch me doing something I have no business doing, something that clearly violates the rules of the household, it behooves me to tell the truth about it, because experience has shown me if I lie, I'm only going to make it worse. It didn't take me all that long to figure it out. Growing up in a military household, Sarge didn't play that. You had the option, look, screwed up, fess up, tell the truth about it, we'll hand out whatever the punishment is, and we move on. Last week, this Chinese spy balloon business left me for only maybe the second time in my entire life being embarrassed to be an American. This thing was mishandled on so many levels, it's disgusting. Let's start with the fact that soon as the news broke, by the way, because the guy is sitting in his office, looks out a window and says, "Hey, what's that floating in the sky?" Not that our government alerted us to this, but thank you, Jonathan, on screen, shot of, I guess if you were to read, if you could read underneath the letters, that the big blocks, it reads, "I am not a spy balloon. Please don't shoot me down." Thank God this guy was looking out of the window, because we probably would have never known until somebody else happened to look up and say, "Wait, we need to shoot this thing down." And of course, Joe Biden and the Democrats came out praising our brave Air Force for shooting down this balloon. Here's the question: how tough is it to shoot down a balloon with a missile? Not that hard, right? But I digress. Leave it to the Democrats, to the first thing out of their mouths, which is another lie, par for the course, for liberals / Democrats / progressives. Well, this happened 3 times under the Trump administration. So let me get this straight. You managed to figure out, in the time that you hid from us what was in the sky above our heads, you managed to figure out 3 times that it happened under the previous administration, and yet you weren't prepared to watch for another one? Huh. Not only that, but in their haste to lie, and in this case they couldn't say, well, it was Trump's fault, so they go to the second best option. Well, Trump did it too. Here's the question. In the wake of 9/11, where Americans now have to literally disrobe before getting on an airplane, you didn't take any more seriously the airspace above our country? Are you starting to see a pattern here? We now know, and we've known for a while, well, with the exception of y'all that watch ABC, NBC, C, the BS, CNN, LOL, and MSLSD, we've all known that our southern border is wide open. Go ahead, man. You're good. We now know our southern border is completely unsecured. It's wide open. People are walking across by the millions. And now we know, thanks to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that our airspace is not secured either. We have no security on our southern border, and now we know we don't have any security in the airspace above our entire country. This freaking balloon flew over 2 military installations, one of which is one of only 3 in the country that houses intercontinental ballistic missiles. You know, the kind that carry, I don't know, nuclear warheads. And yet, those in the military will tell us, well, we didn't shoot it down because it really didn't pose any kind of threat. How do you know? God only knows what sort of intelligence was gathered and what many of us may have been sprayed with by this freaking thing that floated across the entire country. But you know, in hindsight, we really shouldn't be all that surprised about our military's response. I mean, after all you got to do is think back a little ways to our withdrawal from Afghanistan. This clown show of an administration, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It's like they go out of their way to one-up their last screw-up. As if we weren't self-inflicted wound here, made a laughing stock in the international community the way we botched the withdrawal from Afghanistan. We now turn around and let what is arguably our chief adversary on the planet violate our airspace for an entire freaking week. Now, a couple of questions. One, if Donald Trump were in the White House, do you think this balloon would have been able to fly across the entire country for a week? See, that's what happens when you got a weenie in the White House and not a real man. That's what happens. Here's another question for you. The media, trying to downplay all of this, imagine what the response would have been had we found out it was a Russian balloon. Oh my God, they would have lost their minds. Now, a lot of people are of the opinion, this timing of all of this was particularly suspicious. You do realize, do you not? Last Friday, before all of this stuff broke, Hunter Biden's legal team filed a lawsuit wanting to sue Rudy Giuliani, the owner of the computer repair shop where Hunter Biden's laptop was abandoned. They filed a lawsuit saying, we need an investigation into how this information was leaked out. Not that it's mine. So wait a minute, bruh. You're admitting that it's yours. Oh, no, we're not saying it's ours. We're just saying there needs to be an investigation into how this information that was on the laptop, that's not mine, how this information leaked out. I guess after they realized what we're doing is acknowledging that it is Hunter's laptop, we need to fix this real quick. We've started the segment. Now that's just stupid. It makes me think we need to start another segment. How stupid do you think we are? We're going to file a lawsuit to investigate a laptop that's not mine, that I'm not saying it was mine, but we need to sue somebody because the information that was on the laptop that's not mine was released to the media. Really? At the end of the day, it pains me greatly to say I am getting closer and closer and closer to starting to feel we are as stupid as they think we are. And 81 million of y'all, wink, wink, voted for this clown. What's the old saying? You get the government that you vote for. Final break of today's show. We'll get her done, come back, put that big old pretty bow on this puppy, and we wrap up. the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show, only on the Pelican. Stay close.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations...
Welcome back for the final segment of the Tuesday edition of the Clarence Bug Show. Technology is a wonderful thing. Until it breaks. I have, in recent memory, coined a phrase. Marty, get ready, because here it comes. I tell you all the time, don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. At some point, before I forget, don't listen to what they say, watch what they do. / I love it when they prove me right. Just last week, I told you, watch the Biden-Harris administration. And whatever it is that they tell you, you can watch 180-degree opposite as far as what the truth actually is. President Biden, from the campaign trail all the way through last week, used fear-mongering for the American public. The GOP, the Republicans, those evil conservatives, they're trying to cut your Medicare. They're trying to cut Social Security. We've heard that over and over and over again. They're trying to cut your Medicare. They're going to cut your Social Security. Those evil conservatives. Well, looky here. Last week, and again, if you worship at the altar of NBC, ABC, here it comes, Marty, C, the BS, CNN LOL or MSLSD, you probably didn't hear about this. No, it wasn't those evil Republicans that did anything to Medicare or Medicare Advantage. It was, guess who? Very quietly kept from you, the American public, last week. Joe Biden did 2 things to cut, wait for it, Medicare. Thing number 1, Medicare Advantage. You've seen the commercials ad nauseum in recent memory. Time to sign up for Medicare Advantage. Joe Biden cut $3 billion with a B, as in bugs, from the Medicare Advantage program. But wait, I thought you've been telling everybody who would listen for the last 3 years that it's those evil Republicans that are going to cut your Medicare. Once again, old buddy Clarence was right. Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. On top of that, Joe Biden, very quietly, and the media didn't want y'all to know, that he also instituted a 2.3% cut in the agencies that provide Medicare Advantage. Once again, doggone it, those evil Republicans trying to mess with my Medicare. How many times do I have to tell you? Don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do. Now, what's really going to be interesting is to watch tonight. Those of y'all that can stomach watching this man come out and lie to your face. What kind of lie he comes up with tonight. You know, my sincere hope is that we as Americans will step back and take an objective look at what has happened in our country in a little over 2 years. Recently, Joe Biden was asked, Mr. President, do you take any blame for the state of the country, particularly inflation? And in hindsight, would you have done anything different? Joe Biden got indignant with the reporter who posed a legitimate question. You know what Joe Biden said? Do you not remember how bad things were when we took office? Excuse me? Do you not remember how bad things were before we took office? So let me see. Gas prices under Trump, gas prices under Joe Biden. Do you not remember how bad those were? Let's see. Crime under Donald Trump, crime under Joe Biden. Do you not remember how bad things were? Illegal immigration under Donald Trump, illegal immigration under Joe Biden. Do you not remember how bad things were? Supply chain crisis under Donald Trump, supply chain crisis under Joe Biden. Do you not remember how bad things were before we took office? Our standing on the international stage under Donald Trump, our standing on the international stage under Joe Biden. Remember how bad things were before we took office? Teaching your children in elementary school that a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy under Donald Trump, under Joe Biden. Do you not remember how bad things were before we took office? And tonight, my fellow Americans, we will be spoon-fed more lunacy, idiocy, and flat-out lies by the, quote, leader of the free world. I don't think I can remember in my lifetime, and God willing, it will never happen again in the history of this country that I love, how things have gone so bad so fast. Do y'all realize in 2 years and change, gas prices, inflation, supply chain crisis, explosion in crime, southern border, now our sovereign airspace, and the list goes on and on and on, all in the span of 2 years and change. And if that weren't bad enough, we won't even take questions about it. Joe Biden will turn his back on you and walk off in front of the media and the whole freaking world. And yet, this is going to be the most transparent administration in history. Don't you remember how bad things were before we took office? I said before, and I stand by it 110%. Those of you that voted for this clown show, you owe your fellow Americans a sincere apology. You owe us an apology. But more important, you owe to this country, yourself, your children, your grandchildren, if you're blessed to have any. You owe making a more informed decision the next time around. There are no more excuses. You can't say, well, I didn't know that the Democrats would lie to me like this. Well, I didn't know that apparently these people don't understand basic economics 101. Well, I didn't know that they're trying to teach my little Johnny that he can be little Susie if he feels that way. There are no more excuses. You know, it pains me to think you cannot be this incompetent naturally. You gotta work. You have to work to be this incompetent. No one can just on their own screw up this much stuff this fast. Well, you're right. Marty just said Joe Biden can. But you know what's even more scary? One breath away from replacing this clown is another even bigger clown. Thanks, 81 million of you that got hoodwinked, snookered, and bamboozled into voting for this clown show of an administration. The good news is, hopefully, next time around, you'll have the opportunity to do better. You don't have to look very far to realize just how much these folks have screwed up what is arguably the greatest experiment in self-governance in the history of the human species. Thanks, Joe. My time's up, and I gotta go. But you already know the drill. You're right. This day, maybe more so than any other in history, I give it to you. America, we are not perfect. But for this old boy's money, it's the best there is, and God knows there's no place else on his green earth that I'd rather be. Speaking of the good Lord, you know he loves you, and you know I do too. Best news is, there ain't a doggone thing you can do about either one. We'll see you soon. God bless.